Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new to High Value, on this channel you can learn anything that is related to raising your consciousness, healing yourself, and manifesting your dreams into reality, creating profound changes in your life. And today I want to talk about my favorite manifestation technique. But before we get into it, I want to remind you, or to let you know, that I have created an 8-hour affirmation recording that you can listen to during the nighttime, and it will help you reprogram your subconscious mind. You can check it out here. I'm gonna link it in the corner. And also I have created a meditation that will help you manifest your desires. And if you want to check that out, you can check it out here. I'm gonna link it. All right, and now let's dive directly into it. So this tool is so amazing because once you start to really apply it, it will bring you beautiful and effortless changes that can be very, very profound. And this works mainly through a shift in self-perception and a shift in energy. So how the tool works, or how the technique works, is that, and it's much more than just a technique, and you're going to see in just a minute. So how it works is that instead of trying to create a change in the external reality, the way most people do it and the way we were taught to do it, you are creating the change within, and you are becoming that person within that already has whatever it is that you want in your life. So whether this is a change in your appearance, whether this is a change in your financial situation, a change in your work environment, a change in your relationship status, like whatever it is and whatever area of your life it is, you can create the change by becoming that person that already has whatever you desire. And what you are going to experience when you are starting to shape yourself within and starting to shape your reality within is that you are gonna really experience an emotional shift, an energetic shift, where you're gonna feel like you're already in that reality. You're already in the reality where, for example, you look the way you would desire to look, or you are with that person that you would like to be with, you're in that relationship, or you have the money that you right now feel like you don't. And by starting to give that reality that you want to be in attention, and by starting to really feel like you are that person that lives that life, you're gonna experience that energetic shift, that emotional shift. You're gonna feel relief and freedom because you're feeling like you're already there, you're already accomplished. And when you're doing that, and when you're staying in that state, you're staying in that new version of yourself that you have created, you're gonna see your external reality is starting to change and is starting to shift. And you're gonna see it gradually change until it becomes whatever it is that you want to manifest. Now, this is how it works. Let me talk also about the challenges of this technique, so you know when you're starting to apply it what to expect. So first off, especially if you're a skeptical person, or if you're a lot in your mind, then you might find it a bit difficult because you kind of have to go beyond your logical mind. Your logical mind will come up with excuses, and your ego and your conditioning. Your conditioning is going to come up with reasons why this can't work. And I want you to see that reasoning and that those excuses and that reasoning why it can't work as a symptom of your old reality. So what we're basically doing when we are becoming that new version of ourselves is we're really shifting into being someone else, which can feel, it can bring up all kinds of different feelings because you have been used to your limiting beliefs for such a long time that when you're creating that change, it will, for most people, it will not only feel pleasant, it will also feel unrealistic at the beginning. And in order for you to have a little bit of a scientific background on why this works is because we're creating new neural pathways in our brain. So there is a logical side to this technique. While you are starting to feel like the person who already has your desired outcome, you are starting to change the way you think. You're starting to change the way you feel. You're starting to shift the way that you are seeing reality. And that means that you're creating new neural pathways. And for those of you who know a little bit about your brain, you know, your brain is like a filter. It lets in just a limited amount of information that is available to you. So when you're starting to create a neural pathways that you that are a match to the reality that you're looking to live in, your brain and your subconscious mind are going to help you to move you into that direction. But what you need to do is to stay stable and to keep coming back into that reality that you want to experience. Yeah. So what we're doing, and that's why it's challenging, what we're doing is we are disregarding, we're starting to disregard whatever is going on without us, not by ignoring it, but simply by giving more attention to our internal imagination. And we're starting to experience that as more real. We're starting to create an inner vision. And in aligning with the inner vision of what you want, you're creating a shift in your energy. And this is going to drive your actions, it's going to drive your behavior, and ultimately it's going to drive your results. Like, you can explain it in many, many different ways. We can come from a neuroscientific perspective. We can come from a spiritual perspective. We can do it in many ways, but ultimately you are changing your patterns, the patterns in your brain, the patterns in your mind, and this leads to a changed behavior, and this creates different results in your life. So you can argue through the law of attraction, you can argue through neural networks. It doesn't really matter in the end, because whoever will apply this will see changes in their lives. And the important part here is to stay with the reality that you want to create. If you're trying it for 5 minutes and then you're going back to your old reality, the predominant energy that you're giving out is the energy of your old reality, where you do not have what you want yet. If you can stay stable constantly, or as much as you can, in that new reality that you want to create, if you can start to really be that person and embody that new reality, you're going to see changes happen. And the more you stay there, the quicker the changes are going to happen. I know it's a bit more challenging when we do not have evidence to stay stable in that, but you can, what gives you maybe a little bit of a relief is that you don't have to be always in that state. It's enough when you're predominantly in that energy. So even if you're just sometimes in that energy, it will start to create changes. And when you're seeing some changes, it's going to be easier for you to stay in that reality. And that way it's going to become easier and easier and easier. I started to use this technique a few years ago, or that's when I started to use it consciously. And at the beginning, I kept doubting. I mean, our mind is so conditioned to its logical ways that, it sometimes keeps coming up with that self-doubt. But once I saw evidence, and I saw evidence again and again and again and again, at some point I realized, you need to put more emphasis on this technique, because this is really what is yielding the results. And it's such a beautiful technique, because just because you're using your imagination to create a change doesn't mean at all that you won't take action. To the contrary, you're gonna take more action, but that action is not gonna be coming so much from self-discipline, but it's going to come from inspiration. And I think maybe just from hearing the words, you're going to feel a different energy within yourself. Self-discipline or inspiration. Self-discipline is more like a little bit of a lower energy. It's still great, and I'm still using it to create changes in my life and to keep moving forward. But when you're in a state of inspiration, it's gonna feel easy and effortless, and you're gonna just want to take action. It's not gonna feel like hard work, and it's not gonna feel like your goal is far out there. As I said, when you're starting to feel like you already have it, it's gonna be natural, it's gonna be easy. You're feeling like you already have what you want. And when you feel like you have what you want, you're gonna feel relaxed. You're gonna feel relief. You're gonna feel free. You're gonna feel abundant. And that's the state of inspiration. That's the state where we naturally connect, we naturally attract, we naturally create, where we play. It's a very, very, very natural state where you do not really experience stress. And it can sometimes take us some time to get used to living in a more relaxed, in a more inspired state, because we were used so much to working hard and stressing and burning out and like trying to force results. And in that new version of yourself, that's not needed, because everything you want is already there. And I highly encourage you to use your imagination and to really practice envisioning and feeling and internally experiencing the reality that you desire to experience, because that's when really that energy becomes alive within you. Don't just try to tell yourself, yeah, I'm living in that reality, and then look out and ask yourself, where is it? You really need to make that reality a reality within you. That's what I'm doing in the 8-hour affirmation recording. I'm gonna link it here again. I'm explaining in very much detail how it works to shift your self-image. And then I'm giving you affirmations that help you get into that state. But you can do it in a way that works for you. So you can or cannot listen to that 8-hour affirmation recording. You can try it out and see if it works for you or how it works for you. But also, you're gonna find ways to shift your self-perception that work for you specifically. For example, what I do when, or what I sometimes do is like, I just, while driving or while running or while listening to music or just while lying in bed and dreaming and, chilling, I start to like, my mind, it's actually not only something that you have to do, it's more something that you can allow to happen. And while, you're relaxing, while you're maybe listening to music, you're gonna see your mind go into all different directions. And you're gonna see that some thoughts are gonna feel better and others are gonna feel worse. And you can follow those thoughts of least resistance that will help you to really start getting in tune with your inspiration and start getting into alignment with higher frequencies and with higher levels of energy. And it's really a feeling process. It's really a process of like kind of tuning into yourself and finding out, what reality do I want to be in, and who am I when I'm in that reality? Let's say you want to create more financial freedom in your life, and your logical mind is like, you have to do this and this and this and this, and you need to work hard, and you need to do all these different things, and you need to give up on your time, and it's gonna take years. I mean, I don't want to disregard those logical ways to approach it. Yeah, they can be helpful. But what I would focus on mainly is, well, if I was in that reality where I have everything that I've ever wanted, and because I started talking about financial aspect, in that reality where I'm financially abundant and I can share a lot with other people, like how would that feel actually? And how would it feel like to be able to be so generous and to be so abundant? Like, where would I live? And I don't know, for example, what lights me up is to think what I could do for other people if I was like really, really financially abundant. What would I do for other people? What would I do for myself? How would I show myself love and appreciation? How would I invest the money? How would I create a change in the world? What an impact I could make. What vacations I would go on, where I would live, and so on. I mean, there are infinite ways on how you can start to tune into that reality and really just allow yourself to start experiencing that as if it was already true. Most important is like, who would I be in that state? And you're gonna feel a very particular energy of freedom, of self-love, of peace and relaxation. That's the energy that you want to tune into. And it's gonna become, at some point, it's gonna become like a natural state for you as you are keeping on tuning into that reality. You're gonna see that it's going to become more and more natural, and it's going to become easier every time. And it's going to help you take the right action at the right time. It's just alignment, basically. And I think when you're listening to this video, you can start to get a feel of how it would be like. Another example is, for example, you can talk about relationships. When you are, let's say you want to be in a relationship and right now you're not. We all have experienced, I think, or know people, or maybe we have experienced it for ourselves, that we are not in a relationship and then we want to get into a relationship and it's kind of like not the right energy for it. And mostly that happens when you're already in a good energy. So what you want to do in that case, for example, if you want to create a new connection in your life, like might it be like a friendship or an intimate relationship, or whatever you want to create, yeah, you can start to experience that. Like, how would that be? How would it be to be in this relationship? What would I do? Like, what would I do with that person? Like, what would we talk about? What would we experience together? How would I feel ideally? And really start to come from that ideal place where you're like, well, what is it really that I do want if I can have everything? And that's also the way that you can guarantee that you're not coming from a place of compromise when you're entering a relationship, but really from a state of abundance. Because when you're feeling, and that's really great, like I love this part of this technique, when you're feeling like you already have what you want, like all this energy of like despair and neediness and not lack, it's becoming more irrelevant. I don't say that it's not there anymore, but because you have so much of the feeling of love and appreciation within yourself, and so much of you're gonna start to feel like you're not alone. You are with someone. You are already in that relationship. You're gonna experience that energy and that emotional state of connection and of intimacy. And that is a very high energy. And when you are in that state, you're going to see that the people who you're going to attract to yourself, they're going to mirror that back to you more. And also, you're going to be able to really, really start to match with the person who's actually a match to what you do want. Because when you're coming from that lack perspective, you are gonna match more with that, with that person or that energy who's also in that lack perspective. So the work will be the same. You are still going to need to create that shift to abundance. Because in the end, what we want is not money or a relationship. I mean, those are all byproducts of coming into alignment with who you really are, which is abundance, which is infinite possibilities with it, which is self-love and confidence and consciousness. Yeah, that's kind of the energy that we want to align ourselves to. And when we're coming from that place of abundance, we are gonna match with people who are on that same frequency. It doesn't mean, as I already said, that you're never gonna go down to another energy anymore. But as you are starting to create that connection with abundance, you're gonna always know, like, I'm gonna always look back to abundance. Like, no matter what is gonna happen, no matter who I'm with, or what happens in my life, in my professional or private life, it's not so, I'm not so attached to it anymore, because I can always look back into abundance. And I can really start to really create that life that I truly desire, without making too many compromises, because I know that I'm connected to source directly. I don't need to start and get what I want from someone else. I can create it within myself, and then I can start to match with those people and those circumstances who are matched to that energy that I'm creating within myself. All right. I'm gonna make videos in the future where I'm gonna talk more about the specifics on how to create a change in your financial situation and how to specifically create a change in your relationships, because today I'll really just gave you the big overview. But for now, if you have any questions on those topics, then put them in the comments below and I'm happy to answer them. And otherwise, I'm looking forward to seeing you in future videos. And now I wish you a beautiful rest of your day and talk to you soon. Bye.